Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. It's Mark Edwards here from the Channel Zone podcast. And today we have with us Roy Ferrari. Good morning or good afternoon, Roy. How are you?
It's good afternoon. Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, Mark. How are you today?
Yeah, very well, very well. Thanks
Yeah.
ever so much for joining us.
Awesome.
Roy is the SAP go-to-market lead at HCLTech. And I suppose, actually, my first question with regards to that, Roy, if you don't mind, is what the heck does a go-to-market lead actually do?
So this is why I've always told people over the years that I'm just in IT sales. But basically, my job is to we work very closely with SAP. We're trying to build up to be a billion pound business with them. So my job is to make sure that our sales guys are talking with the SAP sales guys,
Yeah.
that all our sales guys are very aware of what SAP are doing, and we're not selling. When I first came, it was almost like they were a competitor, and we were selling almost against them just to try and get the services. But now we need to be selling the same products as them. We need to make sure that we're up to date and that our sales guys are up to date and our marketing is around SAP's marketing, and that our delivery meets in line with SAP delivery. It's just that we're being a proper SAP partner as opposed to just a systems integrator that's in the SAP market space.
Right. And HCLTech is a systems integrator ultimately. Is that how you would describe the
Yeah, I
company?
mean, probably people know us more as a as an outsourced company. So it's one of the Indian outsourced companies originally, and now we're very much in infrastructure, and then that's dragged us over the years into systems integration. They bought Axon years ago, which is a very
Oh,
big SAP house. So there's a lot of people that are still here from the Axon days, and they're very good quality SAP guys. But over
right.
the years, they've kind of gone backwards in terms of a lot of people weren't focusing on SAP, but now they've suddenly realized that actually that's a great market to be in. And from top down, we are focusing on SAP now.
Yeah, it's a massive ecosystem then, is it? The SAP world.
It's huge. Yeah. I mean, it's you've got the big six, and then you've got the Indian seven, whatever, that are all involved in it. And then you've got other really top level companies that are big value added resellers of SAP. But I mean, for every SAP implementation, which is probably a million, 2 million in license, you're probably paying 4, 5x in services.
Right.
So it's huge. And some of the big, I mean, they say 80% of the world's business goes through an SAP system.
Right.
So probably every single product that you touch in the morning has at some stage been or gone
Yes.
through an SAP system. So they purchased it from here, and that was an SAP system, or it's been delivered through an SAP system, or whatever.
Right. I haven't, oddly enough, although, as you say, undoubtedly, I've experienced digital information that's gone through SAP systems many, many times. I've not actually engaged with any SAP elements at all in my work as a consultant and a whiteboarder, which is quite strange. After the length of time I've been in the business, I still haven't really touched upon that market yet. So something
Well,
to
you
think
might you
about in
might
the
have done. I
future.
mean, your expenses and stuff like that. They bought Concur a few years ago, so
Right.
what people don't know that's an SAP system. So there's quite a lot of. I mean, they tend to be at the larger end of the many years, although there
Yes.
is some smaller end products. But yeah,
Yeah.
the larger companies would have probably paid you through an SAP
Oh,
system.
undoubtedly, undoubtedly, and I'm very pleased that they have paid. That's for sure. So, look, I saw you online last week. Congratulations and well done on the two camera kind of I don't know, kind of Gen Z kind of podcasting that you were doing live from your stand. I'm kind of interested to see if you got what kind of reactions you got there. But what was the event itself that you two just back from Madrid? Can you tell us a little bit about that, and what was the energy like there? I mean, it's an exhibition. I'm not a great lover of them myself. How was it?
So the event was SAP Sapphire. So it's an annual event that SAP run really for customers, but they all their partners come along. It's an expensive event. There's two of them. There's one in Orlando, and since COVID, they've been trying to obviously build that up, um, and therefore they set up a European one. So last year it was in Barcelona. We've also done one in The Hague. But so this was the European event of SAP Sapphire, and actually starting doing those videos, that was a last minute decision. I was literally spending my Sunday running around Madrid looking to buy but that microphone,
Right.
which I did. So. it was literally we're there to talk to our customers, to talk to SAP, to talk to
So it's not a
partners.
it's a customer event. It's for SAP customers or SAP prospects maybe as well, I
Yeah,
think, is it?
exactly that. I mean, but even most SAP prospects are SAP customers. You know, they're trying to expand out on what they were looking to do. So yeah, I mean, we have obviously our customers going as well. So they're SAP customers. Where you set up meetings, you have senior management there. But also, I mean, I find it a great place to network. So one of the reasons I've got the job that I've got is because I know so many people across the SAP ecosystem. So as I'm walking around the stands, and have this great badge scene. And it was you touch your badge, you press a button, and they touch the badge, and you've got the information exchanged. And I was calling it badge sex. I was basically going around to, can I badge sex with you? Oh, how's that
Right.
for you? Which I thought they're going to throw me out for that one, but I'm okay. So I've got a chance to meet a lot of people as well that I've known for all these events. Some of them are very good friends. Some of them, we're very friendly and stuff like that, but we don't go outside of these events. But some of
Yeah.
them actually do see it. They're friends that I've known for many many years.
Yeah. And the energy at the event, how was it? I mean, do you remember events from 10 years ago, pre-COVID, and maybe events now? I don't know whether they got back up to speed since we had, the lockdown period. There was no events at all for 2 or 3 years. But what about the energy there? Was it a buzz?
Yeah,
Plenty of
I
people?
think it's coming. It was coming back. It was. I mean, we did it last year. There was less people coming into the stand this year, but there were a higher quality that were there. So I think that was generally across the whole place. It's exactly the same. A lot of people are the same people that go every year. Those that don't are going because they, as you say, they're prospects. They're looking to buy something, so they want to learn more from SAP and see what's going on. I do think there is a pressure on SAP to fill up the keynote with
Right.
new information, so they keep changing what they're doing every year. And a lot of that was, oh God, not again. They're changing it for a third time. But the actual event is very good. I mean, SAP do it at the highest level, so they just sponsored the Ryder Cup. So at the keynote in Orlando, they had the Ryder Cup captains of both
Oh,
teams, and they did a little bit of potting on stage. This time they had, can't remember what one of the former Ryder Cup captains up there on
in
stage.
Madrid.
Yeah, in Madrid, yeah. And
All
then the
right.
keynote speaker for the closing session was Jurgen Klopp. So
Oh, wow.
they do get a bit of different. And in Madrid, they have a celebration night. The one in Orlando, they booked out the whole Epcot Center. The one in Madrid, we had two little halls in the same little place, so that wasn't as good. But I think the overall flow is, yeah, the energy's coming back into them. I think we're probably a year or two away from them combining it and doing it all in Orlando, having 30, 40,000 people
Right.
in Orlando
Right.
again.
Well,
But
those are the numbers?
oh yeah, there's a massive in Orlando. It's absolutely huge.
Right.
I mean,
Astounding.
SAP's numbers are massive. They do um, an annual winners circle. They used to do it in Hawaii. I think they still do, but they basically take out an entire 8, 9, 10 hotels along the seafront in Hawaii. They book the best artists in the world. I mean, when I did, they had Maroon 5 come along. And that for a 2 week period, they just take over the whole of Hawaii. And Bill McDermott, who's now at Service now, was a hero in Hawaii.
Right. Oh no, that's amazing. I mean, again, going back into the dim and distant past, I remember a kind of, a version of a President's Club might have been a dinner out in the Crest Hotel in Basildon one occasion. So, and believe you me, at that time, I actually thought I'd made it. So yeah, they progressed a little bit from there. But
Yeah.
Hawaii, very, very special. Any announcements? You said maybe from SAP or from HCLTech? Anything new? Any announcements that came out in Madrid?
Yeah, I mean, we pushed very hard to become a validated partner, which is SAP's new highest level of support, really. So we achieved that. But a lot of it is, they did just a tweak to what they're doing. I mean, they did actually make a couple of announcements. People are going, yeah, I'm not sure that's particularly correct. So, was there any huge announcements that someone who's not an SAP enthusiast or specialist
Right.
we'll know about? No, I think the biggest one is they're sponsoring the Ryder Cup is probably, in terms of
Big news. Yeah,
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 yes,
yeah,
they're sort
yeah.
of,
That I
I
say
don't,
that.
I don't think they're the main sponsor, but they are, a sponsor of the Ryder Cup.
Yeah. And what about HCLTech? Any announcements? Anything new from you? I'm sure was it. Were you on about an AI lab or something? I was assuming that that might be new.
Yeah, well, it is. We are one of the largest global people in AI. We've actually, I mean, everyone's talking about it now, but we've had it for 16 years. So most of the chips and stuff like that are designed by AI. It's our technology at the heart of it. So we've really got involved with SAP, and we are an AI lab partner. We set up a joint lab in Munich back end of last year, and what we took with us to Madrid was almost a pop-up version of it. So turn up there and we show you examples of what you can do. Because AI now is moving towards agentic AI. So you have an agent that goes and looks and does the work for you, as opposed, you're not just setting up a command. You're saying, "Oh, go and look at that for me," and then I have another agent that says, "Well, take that information and compare that." So there's all these agents that go looking over it. So it's how we've moved to the next step of agentic AI as opposed to AI or productive AI or whatever the
Yes.
AI version
Yeah.
is.
No, and given, I'm assuming you go back a reasonable time in the world of sales, right? Maybe 10, 15
Yes.
years or maybe more. I don't know whether I would call you a tech industry sales veteran. I might do, actually,
Yeah.
in many respects. We've been around a long time. You and I, of course, met Granada Computer Services, I would have said in about 1996. So
Seven.
that's a fair time ago. The role said you said right at the beginning when I asked you what does a go-to-market lead do. Actually, what you said is, did you say you're a tech sale? You know what I mean? The way of maybe
Yeah, I
simplifying
tell
it
everyone I'm
is
in IT sales and just leave it at that because
you're
it's
in
easier
IT
for people to
sales. So
explain.
tell me, and this tell your owner how the world has changed. I mean, in that period of time, we had mobile phones in 1996. Of course, you probably in 1996. I don't even know if you would have had an email at Granada Computer Services at that time. Possibly not.
Yeah, I just started.
Just kind of started.
I remember the evenings I'd have to go and pick up my email. So you sit in the spare
There
room,
we go.
put it into the telephone,
Correct.
download them all, and
Correct.
then read them all. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you've seen a massive, you've seen all of that technological change and how that's affected the sales world. But again, going back to AI in particular, because I was running some courses over the last few weeks with a client of mine, and just asking the entirety of the sales organization. Everybody's it's like, are you using AI? And yes, everybody. So what are you? What? How will AI be used by tech salespeople in particular? So not necessarily what's AI going to do to the rest of the world. What about in that sales role that you and I know so well? Blue suit, white shirt, red tie, BMW driving salespeople as we would have been in the past. Slightly
Yeah.
different to but how is AI going to
I'm
work for a
I'm
seller?
I'm frustrated that they're not using it as much as they could do. So, I mean, right at the front end, you've seen multiple times these AI people who can actually take your voice and they can actually make the phone calls and stuff like that. I don't think they're going to be as good as you want, unless it is purely early stages of are you interested in this? Yeah, I am actually. Okay, let me just put you through to someone who might be able to help you, and you put through someone else. I
Yes.
think they're short-lived, and I don't think they're going to be good. I think the area that we're probably going to get most um, benefit from is, and it winds me up every day, is RFPs, for example. So someone's
Yes.
put a request for a proposal. What I see people doing is, oh yeah, you've asked a question, and there's only a certain amount of questions and a certain amount of ways you can ask them. And if you've done this 40 times, you've got 40 different answers. It's the same information put different
Yes.
ways. So just put it into a database somewhere and get an agent to go and say, all right, this is a question, go and answer that question. And there's no way now that in 2025 we should be saying to a customer, can I have an extension for that RFP? And AI can write it in a day. You can then just
Yes.
spend the time reading it and get it straight out to them. You don't have to go and rewrite the information because it's all there. It's the information. There's nothing new in the world. Unless it is new, then go and create information. So I think that's going to be
That's a big area, and I think maybe about a year, 18 months ago, I had a conversation with somebody. He was working for a company that had a generative AI platform specifically for that, for RFPs and proposal writing. And he said, and the demonstration that he gave me. So I said, this is about 18 months ago. It kind of blew me away because that was able to, he could, exactly what you say, here's a question from the procurement team, put that in, and it came up with you could define how you wanted the answer, you could tweak it, change it, you could even say, do it in the style of Charles Dickens, or do it, and it was extraordinary. So I said, my guess is, well, I'm hoping that is certainly being used by organizations. But I said, but for the salesperson themselves, how are you using it? Or maybe you're not. Are you using AI? Or I'm a ChatGPT kind of fan at the moment, although I have Copilot as well. I'm kind of sticking to getting my teeth into the one at the moment. So I'm using it in various ways. Has it made any change to your workflow, what you do?
Yeah, in more reporting than anything else. So
Right.
we've got a meeting on Friday where we're looking at what we did in Madrid, having a look at the next steps and stuff like that. And everyone has been filling in an Excel spreadsheet, and one of the managers has said, "No, I don't want it in Excel," but hasn't told us what he wants it in. So I just said to them, "Right, let's take all the information. It's all in Excel, and let's just ask Copilot to put all that information into a Word document." And then ask it to put it all into a PowerPoint document. So you've got whatever format you've got, you want it, but it's the same information. And I think that's the key to it. It's making sure you've got the same information across multiple reporting methodologies, because we keep getting asked all the time for different reports and can you update this information? And you're just typing out the same report, and then someone else with a different format will send it. So I think it's having that ability to use the same format and then just say, put that into an Excel spreadsheet and send that, or put that into PowerPoint. I think that's where I'm probably using it more. I'm not using it as much as I probably should be using it, but it's becoming more and more prevalent in everything I
Yeah,
do. A
definitely.
lot of times I'm doing things I think I could have done that with AI. So it's just getting in the habit as well.
I said getting it into the workflow, and I said, rather than, I said, we're all creatures of habit in many respects. But a habit of mine now actually is, the machine starts up and I get ChatGPT comes in straight away.
Okay.
I'm finding multiple uses for it. So definitely working away for me. Any other changes? Because again, I said you've been a tech seller for over over 25 years, I think. The other meaningful changes, some for the better, some for the worse. So there's this kind of a focus on that as we bring our time to a close. What do you think?
Yeah,
What's better? What's
I think the
worse?
quality of salesman's gone down over the last few years. I've seen so many examples of then panic would go back onto RFPs. Oh, we got this RFP, we have to win this. And I'm like, just a little bit of qualification. How much work have you done up front with it? None. Okay. Why is this a must win? When you've not met the customer, you don't even know what the requirement is. So I think the quality of salesman's gone down.
Right.
I don't know if that's, and I
Is that
think,
is that is that is that say the raw material is the same? It's the same type of salesperson. Do you know what I mean? You could say they're probably better educated in many respects, but you mean they're not as they don't have that sales sense,
yeah, I think so.
which would mean that you're going to qualify opportunities quite
Yeah, I
hard.
mean,
Is it
we were almost forced to it in the early days. I mean,
correct?
and I think, I mean, I thought the other day someone asked me about what was the best sales course I went on, and actually it was Miller Hyman, Blue Sheet Analysis, which was
Classic,
absolutely
classic.
outstanding. I actually met Alice Hyman, who wrote all the fun on holiday last year.
Oh wow,
Um, she's a friend of a friend. So um, I just don't think we're forced into those
yeah.
answers, because those above aren't sales, or they weren't driven the same way,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it's just getting a lot of the qualification is not as good as it probably
As it
should
would
be.
be. For
So
those that don't know, Roy, can I just pause there and just go back and say Miller Hyman, you and I will appreciate, but for those that don't know, this is the legendary blue sheet as
yeah,
and I think it was probably the premier sales methodology, possibly 19 late 1980s, but certainly early 90s. I
Yeah.
think after that, and it was literally it was a
Blue
blue
sheet.
sheet. It was
Yeah.
a blue sheet, but and in some respects, you'll probably be aware of. So we go from Miller Hyman. I would have said then target account selling became the norm. I don't know,
Yeah.
Taz.
I went customer centric selling after that was the.
Okay, we would say Taz, and then in the Spin, of course, which actually probably precedes all of these, but that's more of a
Mhm.
sales methodology anyway. And then the other one we've got Challenger, but for sales qualification, the I would say the standard today, certainly in the UK and Europe, would be MedPick. I don't know if that's the case in the US, but and MedPick is effectively it's you could say it's blue sheet light, isn't it? In many respects, it takes you through the same areas. Maybe doesn't cover them all. I'm
Exactly,
not
and
sure.
not to the depth as well. I mean, because a lot of time it's laziness. So one of the things I liked
Yes,
about Blue Sheet was it looked at the opportunity specifically. So we might have a great
correct.
relationship in this
Yeah,
account
yeah,
with Jack, but actually Jack doesn't make the decision for this opportunity. It's Bill. So Jack's
yes,
only an influencer, or Jack's just a user. So you can't say, oh, we've got a great relationship with Jack, so we're going to win this. No, you've got to look
yes.
at it each by individual. And I think I'm seeing a lot of thing. Oh, we've got great relationship in this account, so we should win it. Right, but do we know this person? Well, no, but we know this person, and he's not the decision maker on this one. So it's I think people have got away with that, and there's a lot of tick boxing as well because people think they've been doing it for years. I had one particular sales manager at SAP, funny enough, and he would have a call every single week and go through his tick boxes. Do you have and it was one of the things I had to do on there. Do you have an exec sponsor in this account? Um, no, I don't, and I don't want one. No, well, you got to get this woman on. She doesn't know the product. She doesn't know the company. I'm not going to introduce it. And we had the same conversation every single week because I didn't need it. And I would say this deal is going to close on this day. It's going to be for this amount of money, and it's going to, and it's this is what the process I need to go through. But it still made me go through my tick boxes, and it was just frustrating. I know my accounts, 175% to target. Went off to Hawaii and stuff like that. I knew what I was doing, so just leave me alone. And good sales managers don't know how to leave you alone. They want you to
Right,
go through
got
their
you, got you. Yeah,
methodology.
well, that's right. I mean, as I said well, you're a risk factor to them in many respects. I mean, as I said, they don't know, and also that's the one. It's a huge variable. How honest is this salesperson being when they qualify an opportunity? Because they're all going to give answers, but do they have the depth of knowledge? Do they have the willingness in many respects to actually, and one of the key things you should be able to do is expose your weaknesses to kind of say, this is an area that no, I don't know. But I'm not sure that even many people, I don't know whether that inquisitive nature has gone. The other thing that occurred to me, a little light bulb went off when, as you said, you're clearly influenced by the blue sheet training that you had all those years ago. But I also wonder as to whether the physical nature of it, as a material piece of collateral. Do you know what I mean? It was a physical asset. It was you probably had a store cupboard along with the coffee and cream Bisley filing cabinets, which you might remember they used to dominate offices. No, it's all right. So along with the Bisley coffee and cream cabinets, you'd have a store cupboard. In the store cupboard, you might have had a ream of
Yeah,
blue sheets, and wasn't there stickers with it as well? Little red
yeah,
stickers, I
little
think.
red flags. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'd say that so, again, forgive me. I'm just kind of riffing on an idea here, but you can imagine that in some respects, it's like a play thing. You're able, putting stickers on the paper, but it involved you in the opportunity in a physical way, which maybe MedPick doesn't do, and maybe even a CRM or a Salesforce where you're just entering the data and maybe even cutting and pasting. Do you know what I mean? From
yeah,
one
and
document and just shoving it
it's
in.
become a stats thing. We all know the stats, so therefore, if we can sit there. Okay, he's 80%. They're going to get that one. It's a million. They'll put that in 80,000, and then your boss will say, okay, he's 70% correct. That's times, and then at the end of the day, the figures are that they're forecasting. They're literally just forecasting figures. They're not forecasting that particular deal, and they don't really care what's going on in that deal. They, it's over there. When it becomes a problem is we get to the end of the quarter and you ain't closed it. That's when it becomes a problem. And so it's how well was it qualified up front. People aren't doing that anymore. They're just focusing on the numbers. It's the numbers game. You need 3x, 3x, 4x your
Yes.
forecast. And it's almost as simple as that. Don't
And
go into the
that
detail.
wasn't the norm 20 years ago, I don't think, was it? I mean,
No, it wasn't. I mean, there was a guy. Don't want to give him a sweat out that when I worked actually after I left Granada, and he would have one opportunity in his forecast every quarter, but you could guarantee he was going to close it. He would not spend any time doing
that's
it.
my man. Yeah.
100%, he's going to close it, and it was a huge one. Other people have 10 of them. One of them's going to close one of those 10, but he really didn't know which one. He just knew it's a numbers game. We're going to get one, and that's I think where we are now. We've got my son's actually gone into sales, so he's calling me all of the time. I'm giving him a lot of advice and stuff like that, and he's doing really well because he's thinking about the sales. He's not, Dad, I've got this situation that this guy says such and such. Yeah, but don't believe it. Start digging in further, understand it, and it's making him into a better salesperson
No,
because
that
he's
sounds
having the time
great.
to do the qualification.
Yeah, and he sounds curious and interested enough to ask you the questions about it, knowing that it's who needs Chat GPT? He's got Chat Roy, he's got Dad Roy in the corner, as said that he can go to. So that makes a lot of sense. Those are the, you could say, the as a contrast and a comparison as to how things perhaps are not as good. As a final thought, what are the elements of the sales role that you think are maybe better today than they were then? You're having to think long and
Um,
hard now.
yeah, yeah.
Well, work from home might be one of them, Roy. I mean,
No, I don't think it is, Mark. I think that's actually I was going to say on a bad element because
right,
you and this is good because we can build it up there, but there's still nothing better than that face to
face to
face
face.
as we did a few weeks ago. That it is proper spending time face to face, and I still a lot of times, oh yeah, I'll have a meeting with you, and you do it over thing that I don't think you're going to really get the benefit. And I think that's probably what I would say the biggest loser is
Yeah.
working from home, whether it's Teams, whether it's Zoom, whether it's
Yes.
WebEx,
Yes. Yes.
whatever. I
Yes.
think that is what is going to kill the industry. And actually, I could be an AI because
Yes.
we can
Yeah.
build up the same thing. But face to
The,
face, it's still the best.
it's gone. We still haven't got any positives, but I want to make a remark on what you just said there, because the other thing, I'm just trying to think again. This one appeared in my mind again the other day, because the norm would have been, you make an appointment. I would drive, I'd happily drive 120 miles. You know what I mean? To go and meet a customer for the first time. If the conversation or we'd probably spoken on the phone, but it was likely I'd happily spend. And if I had to make a 9 o'clock meeting in the morning and 120, I'd be leaving home at 5 o'clock. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? To get there in time. But you would be pretty much guaranteed an hour. An hour would have been, I would have said, was your standard slot.
Hmm.
Nobody, I don't think, would expect you to travel 100 miles or more, or even 10 miles, and just give you half an hour. But the reality now is the Zoom or Teams meeting typically is 30 minutes, isn't an hour. It's a 30-minute meeting, not the hour meeting. And in some instances, they're even saying it's 15 minutes is what you're getting. So you can't, going to use imperial measures. You can't fit a quart into a pint pot,
No.
and that converse. It's not only the conversation. It's not only if you think about it, how long does it take to identify the customer's issues, their chat, and to get them comfortable enough with you to be willing to talk about those things. I don't think a 30-minute Zoom call. I don't, it's not, it doesn't necessarily break through. But those are the limitations today, Roy, and I don't see
Oh.
it going the other way.
I hope it does go back the other way because I mean, you look at all the best stories that you've got from sales. I mean, those deals where you've closed multi-million-pound sales, by using, I don't know, the silent close or whatever. They're all face to face, like the silent close when you sit in
Yes,
a room and you've gone silent and everybody just then starts looking at the decision maker. You can't do that in a Zoom call because they'll just turn
no,
off camera. So,
yes,
at the end of the day, it's a different profession and people have adapted to the profession. And yes, they're getting the information out and stuff like that. But I'm trying to think of a positive.
Yes,
Um,
you are. You are. You are. You are.
so,
But it's interesting because that they said what we're seeing. I think I kind of agree with you. Is that the role as was in some respects certain elements to it which we would have thought were fundamental and necessary have been stripped away piece by piece. But there is also, and this happened, remember, at the beginning of lockdown, where all of a sudden pretty much the entire world was pushed online at that point for businesses to continue. And that is where the major shift took place. But I compared it at the time to, you'll remember Big Bang. Do you remember Big Bang in the City of London? So that was
yeah, yeah,
1986, the Big Bang. And there was at that point, that was the traditional London Stock Exchange, you may remember, it was with booths, very much like how the New York Stock Exchange looks today. And that's seen from trading places where, a bunch of people that's how it used to be.
hmm
And then in Big Bang moved that from that environment, it moved them onto the trading floors. That was the beginning, really, of huge. You may have some of the facilities that were built at that time, massive trading floors, a lot of tech screens in front of the traders, so they weren't dealing face to face. A lot of it was on the telephone, but with the kind of a digital information being provided. And of course, that's even gone further now. It's algorithmic
yeah.
trading. There's probably no trader there at all anymore. And it said,
Wow.
I think we've experienced, and we touched upon, as I said, those. It is an AI. I mean, I have seen a demonstration, or I see it. Somebody sent me a link to it, but that was. Basically, is it a? I don't know if is it a bot? It's an AI, but a voice,
Yeah.
basically making a cold call, which is I don't know, quite extraordinary. There's probably somebody out there that says if they can get that to work, I mean, they'll probably be a billionaire in a very short time. That's for sure, and they'll save a lot of heartache because I don't think cold calling is something that many of us are hugely keen on.
No, but
Myself.
those that are doing it should be making more money, and I think there is an appreciation of that sales is an important role, except the finance people who think they can do it so easily. But I think there is an appreciation it is a proper profession, which is long overdue.
Absolutely. Well, and on that, Roy, I think I'm going to give up asking for a positive today, and we'll stick with it. But it is said that the contrast is really pertinent and certainly resonates with me. I'm sure it'll resonate also with some of our viewers and listeners. So, from Roy Ferrari, who is the SAP Go-to-Market Lead at HCLTech, thanks ever so much for joining us and
Absolute
being on
pleasure,
the
Mark. Good
Channels
to
On
speak to you again.
podcast. We'll do it again. I'll give you more time next time to think of a positive. Think of a positive in terms of the changes that have taken place. And my guess is, following this conversation, something will come to you later on today, and you go, do let me know what it is when you get that thought. But in the meantime, I look forward to catching you in the real world, face to face, in the
Yeah,
not too distant future. Ryan has said, thanks once again for joining us and being a
absolute
great
pleasure.
guest.
Cheers, thank you.
Brilliant.